Welcome to IsitObservable live stream, live from Las Vegas. To prove it, I have the live from, which is here, which is, you can see, live from Vegas. Whoa, awesome. So here we had a live stream yesterday with Christoph Neumüller and Almu. And now I have two great guests. I mean, you already know them, but I would like to introduce them. So first I have Andy. Andy, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah. Thanks for doing this. This is really cool. Broadcasting live to the world.
And we have our other guest, which is Michael Kopp.
Hey Henrik.
How are you?
I'm doing well. It's great, and you?
I'm very good, very good. So it's the third day of Perform. Second day of Perform, third day, why I say third day, I don't know.
Yeah, it's been 5 days so
yeah,
far.
it's fine. Between the hot days and the conference, we're lost. So second day of Perform, a lot of announcement has been done. You've been on stage, you've been on breakout session, you've been everywhere, in fact, to be honest.
I try to keep myself busy, right? You need to justify why you fly halfway around the world, yeah.
So could you maybe share a few, for those who didn't have the chance to connect to the live stream or to be here in Vegas, could you maybe share a few insights for news about what has been announced and any news related to Dynatrace?
Yeah, sure. So for me, the most important thing is, as some of you may know me or may not, I've been trying to educate people around how we can use observability from development all the way to production. So everything, what we used to call DevOps, now I think the new term, at least that I've seen in the CNCF, is around platform engineering. So what we've been trying to do at Dynatrace and what we've also announced, we broke down into different phases of the life cycle, from development all the way to into production, to operate, also to protect, and we are providing individual kind of use cases that people can implement. Now these use cases come from how we in Dynatrace adopt Dynatrace. These use cases also come from our customers and how they adopt, and we want to just make sure that we collect these use cases and then bring it to the rest of our community.
I heard that the best use case was Resolve. I don't know why. I mean, someone told me.
Yeah,
about
there was
that.
like a French guy on stage, and yeah, you talked about how to resolve issues and how to do all using the SLOs and everything. Yeah, it's good.
Self-healing, completely, yeah. And Michael, I know that there is traces on Grail.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great announcements, and that all goes even further, more to what Andy just mentioned on the platform engineering side. So now you're not only limited to the metrics and logs anymore. You can do things with traces. So could you explain a bit a bit on this?
So yeah, I mean we already announced it last year, and so this time around we're gonna have traces in Grail. You know, of course, you know, together with all the other data, it's gonna be in context. And so I'm having a lot of conversations with customers about it, and it's amazing what they come up with ideas right away. There's, you know, you see the cogs turning, and they, you know, trying to figure out, you know, could I do this use case or that use case. So it's gonna open up a lot of possibilities for us and for our customers, right? I've also seen Christoph doing a pretty good show of, you know, what we do internally. So they are analyzing Grail with DQL queries in Grail. That's like
Inception.
It sounds like Inception, right?
So analyzing Grail with the query of Grail?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So there's a Grail, two instances of Grail, or Grail on Grail?
I don't know if it's two different instances. I think it could be the same even, right?
Yeah, but basically we are capturing, I guess, traces and metrics and logs on what's happening in production, right? When people are querying data and then we analyze query performance.
If you do a DQL query, right, you know, we execute code so that we trace that. And if, of course, what never happens, that query might be slow, then we can analyze it end to end and see exactly where it happened. And we could do other fun stuff. For example, we can use that information to analyze across all the different kinds of DQL queries. You know, what kind of DQL queries are made. You know, is there any patterns of stuff that people do? You know, how much data do people analyze on average? So all these kind of things are available with that as well, of course.
And also, I mean, I had the chance to talk to Klaus previously, and I think the fact that now with biz events plus the carbon footprint app plus all the features that we have, I mean, we announced part of it last year, and now it's you can basically have real use cases and use it in your day-to-day job. I think it's just impressive.
And I think what's also great, as you said, we announced it last year, but now we start getting new apps. I mean, DQL is amazing. DQL is super powerful, but I think what we want for the majority of our users, we don't necessarily want them to mess around with DQL. We want to provide apps on top to make it easier to get their stuff done.
So, I like the term like analytics or advanced analytics actually better. And so, I mean, you're buying a solution, right? You're buying an observability solution, so you want all those use cases being out of the box. But people have been asking for a long, long time if they can have API access to that data. And they've been asking for a long, long time, can I have that, on a dashboard, right? And they do that not for, the normal, like, show me the response time hotspot use cases, but for other kind of use cases, for more advanced use cases, or maybe even non-observability use cases, right? And so I think that's the power of Grail that, and the platform, that we're going to give you all of those out-of-the-box use cases, great experience, but you can do so much more with that. Things that, every time I talk to a customer and they come up with ideas, things that we didn't even think about, right? And so that's, I think, where people will use DSQL for these kind of things.
Can I ask him a question?
Of course, of course.
So, I know you did a breakout, I think, obviously with the Traces app.
Yes.
We have the Kubernetes app that I know that's been released last year. In your area, on app observability, what other apps are coming or are here, or what will people be able to expect?
So the tracing app is going to be hopefully, so current plan is to roll it out in May. Kubernetes has been released just now. Then we plan to release the services app, probably fall-ish, something like this. And the major focus there is great experience, right? And we want to have the Davis, health workflow, so to surface health issues, just much better. I can show you the mocks. They are awesome. Can't yet be shared with the world. And what we also gonna emphasize on is that there are applications like Kubernetes and services. They might deal with different domains, but a lot of the patterns are similar, right? You do health monitoring. You do resource optimization. You have stuff that I own, stuff that you own, right? And so we want to make sure that we have a great consistent experience across these things, and that's what we're working on now. And then of course, I'm sure you've heard of the live debugger, right? Of that Israeli company Rookout that joined us. And so the live debugger, don't shoot me, I don't know the exact date. It's I think somewhere between June and September. So that's the fourth app that we're gonna come out. And developers will love that one.
And also from the discussion that I had with Yarden, enabling the live debugger, but then those variables that are on the live debugger becomes available then stored in Grail. And I thought, wow, it means that I can even think about, there are some valuable information I need when I release. Just when I do, let's say, like a Brooklyn deployment, and the first couple of weeks I want to measure a few things, so I enable those variables, and then I keep tracking that on DQL. I thought, wow, that would be just amazing.
So there's use cases we have in mind. I mean, imagine the following, right? So you had a problem in production, you use the live debugger to fix it, so your MTDR shrinks, right? But you have a fairly complex application, like many of us do, and so when you roll out a fix, and it might be a sparse error that you had, right? It happens, 1 in a million or whatever. And so you want to make sure that it's really fixed. So what you can do now is to say, all right, I'm going to set up some of these soft breakpoints or non-breaking breakpoints, let's see how we call them. And I'm going to leave that in there for a week to prove that the issue never happens again, right? And so I think that's going to be really awesome, because how do you otherwise prove that it doesn't happen again? Yes, you can add log statements, right? But I think this is going to be a game changer as well for developers.
Or even simply for testing. I mean, in taking advantage of the live debugger for testing, I think you can basically test something that are in the core code, get it out, and then just do some validation based on that. So I think that's great.
Can I just for clarification, maybe for folks that don't know the live debugging thing, it means I can set virtual breakpoints, and with this I can say, whenever this code line gets executed in production, I want to get the same information like I would normally get when I debug through that code on my local machine.
Yes, exactly. With the difference that it doesn't, stop your code, of course, right?
That's why the soft breakpoint or whatever.
And the other thing is, when we live in a world of, distributed applications, so I can say, there's 10, this workload spans up 10 pods. Please set that breakpoint on all of them. right? And I know there's like 5 different workloads, so let's again set multiple breakpoints on all of them. But you're right, but I get the same experience like I would debugging it on my desktop, right? And then that's something that developers today can't do, right? And I mean, first of all, they will love it, but also think about, because they can't do that, how do you figure out that thing? Well, you try to reproduce it in your test environment, boring, a lot of work, and then, you're never sure if you really reproduce the same stuff. Right?
There's another thing that I really liked is when it's Bonifaz was on stage talking about Kubernetes and the workflow that you can trigger to helping you to optimize, because there is a big natural reaction when you start running in Kubernetes is you can allocate resources easily for nothing, and then having something that helps you to improve your resource allocations and improve your cluster, I think that is very exciting.
Yeah, I think what he said, right? I mean, and I actually believe that you did a lot of the groundwork with this, because I remember your KubeCon talks where you were basically analyzing what's the resource consumption of your pods, and if they completely are not aligned with your current limits, then I think in your case, you just spit out a new definition of your limits. But now we can bake this into a workflow, where the workflow then can automatically apply these changes, either on Kubernetes directly, or if you follow a GitOps approach. He also alluded towards that we just open up a PR and changes the limits. So it's basically always right-sizing your pods based on the actual workload.
Yeah, and at the end, by doing this, you're saving energy, but also cost for sure.
Of course,
So you had a breakout session, few minutes, couple of hours. So what was the?
So it was 2 breakout sessions. They were all centered around platform engineering. One was how we at Dynatrace internally do platform engineering. We had Michael Gless on stage with me, and he talked about how we internally give developers access to tools like Backstage, where they can go in and select a template to build a new app. How that then automatically creates your Git repositories based on a template, how it automatically gets monitored, how it gets deployed. So he talked about how we do platform engineering internally. And then Adam Partner and I, we had a session on how we, for the hot day, for the hands-on training day, built a reference IDP with Backstage, Argo, GitLab, OpenTelemetry, Captain, Dynatrace, KubeBench, KubeHunter, a couple of tools, and basically providing in the end the same workflow. A developer goes in, fills out a couple of fields, and his app gets fully deployed. Everything is monitored. So yeah, that was kudos to Adam, and also Katarina, if you're watching this, Katarina Zick. She helped us a lot with the Backstage plugin. Thank you so much.
And how was the reaction? Because sometimes the notion of platform engineering has been quite new in the industry. People start onboarding. They have different definitions. So, did you have any specific reaction from the audience, or specific questions, or where they didn't expect this that was possible to achieve?
I think, platform engineering is not new, right? The term might be new, but in the end, we've always automated. We always try to make things easier. And what I was surprised is that a lot of people raised their hands when we showed them the IDP that we built with these tools. A lot of people said, yeah, we have definitely parts of these tools already in our environment. Some, like also Martin from PicPay, who was on main stage today, right? They've been doing platform engineering, but they just call it foundational engineering, because he said what their team is doing is they're building the foundation for the developers. So from a terminology perspective, maybe not everybody knows it yet. For those that are very involved in the CNCF, in KubeCon, in these conferences, because we've been talking about platform engineering for a while now, they all know this. But the tools like Argo, Flux, all the different Git derivations that are out there, they're all very well known and also used now within our community.
That's true. That's true. And because I think you delivered the similar. You mentioned the hot day.
Hot day, yeah.
And so you helped them to walk through the process of building that type of platform.
No, we built the platform. So the goal was that we, as the trainers, we were the platform engineering team. So we gave them the platform, and our attendees were kind of the development teams to use the platform. But then we showed them how we stitched everything together, why things are working that way. And by the way, folks, if you're interested in this, the whole hot day is available on GitHub. Just go to the Dynatrace Perf Clinic's GitHub repository. There's one, it's called Platform Engineering Tutorial. everything we put out there, the whole YAML files, all the CDs, everything is out there with the Dynatrace workflows, notebooks, and dashboards, all for free consumption.
And I guess you need a Dynatrace tenant. Is there a specific requirement for the Dynatrace perspective to take advantage of that?
Not really, no. It's just a free trial tenant. I mean, what we use is notebooks, dashboards. We are ingesting logs from OpenTelemetry. We are ingesting Prometheus metrics, and obviously the One Agent gets installed. Well, yeah, there's two workflows that we need. Other than that, it's all, I would say, standard. Site Reliability Guardian is also an app that we use. Yeah.
And did you provision everything through by using one of the components that Dynatrace has to automatically configure Dynatrace, so Monaco?
In our case, so there's different ways how you can configure Dynatrace automatically, either natively through the API, Monaco, Terraform. We're also currently looking into Crossplane, but we were using Monaco for that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And you talked about distributed traces, and on main stages this morning there was showing like a test results where you can compare things, and I thought that wow, if we had the traces with the distributed traces app with 2 testing releases, we could be able to do that. So is the distributed tracing application that you mentioned a few minutes ago will allow users to be somehow have queries, predefined queries, so then they can start with the queries that we have in the UI. It's similar to the Kubernetes application when you can open a screen.
Yes. So now took me a second to make that jump. So basically, yeah, I mean, the tracing app, but pretty much every app that we're going to put out there is going to give you access to the data underneath. So it's one pattern we want to follow is that every chart, every table that you're going to see, you can say open a notebook, pin to dashboard, copy DQL, but also export data, right? I think for a long time, customers have asked us for these things, and it will become a general pattern. So of course in the tracing app, but in all the other apps as well. So that whenever you see something in a product, you can get to the raw data, you can further analyze from there. For example, as you said, compare it, with other time frames.
Yeah.
Build your own app, put it in a dashboard.
Yeah.
So yes, so that I think that's the big change with the platform with Grail that we released a year ago. That it's a data platform, or how does Bernd call it, like a data
intelligence. Oh, you mean the data lake house?
The data lake house, right? Yeah. That you're gonna have access to all of it, to all the power, all the time.
And there's one aspect that usually when you're dealing with distributed traces, you have naturally the response times of the service. You get the throughput, so number of incoming spans or traces. And last you have the error rates, and sometimes in the span attributes you can have more information. And I was wondering, can we in the future say, this service I'm more interesting to measure, I don't know, the number of product in the cart, for example.
So good that you mention it. I mean, you can actually to a certain degree do this today, right? So even before we release traces in Grail, you can define what we call calculated metrics based off of trace data, right? And so I think Matt recently showed he first started with a taco app, and then he said he doesn't like tacos, so he made it a sushi app. And you saw sushi orders, right? And which sushis actually were ordered on the service screen, right? And so yes, you can do that. It's just with Grail, it's just going to be so much more powerful, because you can just as I said, I can just start and say, okay, I go into the span data, right? I query the data, I massage it, I say, okay, I want to have this kind of visualization, right? And then I can say, okay, now, I can say, okay, create me a time series from that, make sure that it's always available on all my sushi, service, because, of course you have multiple of those. And then, if I want to have a baseline on it, so if the sushi order drops, right, then please raise an immediate anomaly, because then we have problems.
Of course, understand.
This is a sad thing when the sushi orders drop.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So at the end, it means that Dynatrace is able to compare tacos with 2 sushis, is that what you're saying?
We've tried that, but we failed miserably at that exercise.
All right, so I'm looking at the time, and I think there is the last keynote is coming in a few minutes. So
Yeah.
I would like to thank you both for taking the time for this live stream.
Thank you.
And for everyone that was connected, so thank you for joining this live stream. If you enjoyed today's live stream, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. So see you soon for a traditional episode on this channel. See you. Bye.
See ya.
Bye bye.